For any advocate out there that may be viewing this page, I want you to know that there's much supporting documentation to each and everything that I speak of. This is all written by me and submitted to people. This was to fellow advocates. Here's my explanation. Here's, you know, one arbitrator's decision, unlawful termination. Another arbitrating judge's decision, unlawful termination. Here, the state of Iowa had me drive across the state of Iowa when they were supposed to give me some back pay because they had absolutely destroyed my life and they were playing games at the time. I drove 250 miles one way for a $1 check from the state of Iowa. I had to drive 500 miles this day. I've been through 2 years of pain, suffering, my children, and it wasn't close to restoring what had been lost or the damage is done. And they did it just to be malicious and spiteful for $1. That's from the state of Iowa. Denial of unemployment. They unlawfully terminated a veteran and denied its unemployment. Here's my letters to them seeking it. Me and my children at the time. Me writing liaisons of appeals. This is my letter to the superintendent of the facility, Mr. Anders, the unlawful terminating supervisor, just explaining, over and over. These are letters to her saying, please, just do your job. I even wrote it down, Barney style for you. And I described everything, but that's before I knew the conspiring was going on. Request for leave for medical, for PTSD and stuff like that is terminated on FMLA. There's many civil rights violations on here. Request for union representation and appeal. I actually ended up representing myself due to the union president there, which they have no union there anymore. Being tied up in the drugs with my ex-wife. There's another unemployment because I kept applying for unemployment. I was terminated, right? Unlawful termination. Mother just taking her life. Had a house fire. Had a broken foot. Broken collarbone at the time. I was laid up and I couldn't even get unemployment. Now these are me reaching out. We'll go back up here. So here's the state case. Initial grievances. I got everything. State versus Camarillo. I represented myself in this. Here's the actual recording of it. For 55 minutes, I believe it was, I went up against state lawyers and I beat them. I couldn't even get food assistance. I was literally starving. I went into a period where I had to drink water one day and then eat canned goods the next day. As I said, my mom just taken her life. I was going through divorces, cost me custody. See, and then we got into small town ties. I was issued full custody when an unbiased judge heard me out outside of town, but then it was tampered with and reversed through another judge, a judge that my ex-wife's father, there's a letter from me to the judge, golfed with. Here is the malicious dollar. State of Iowa warrant, $1. And you can tell it's malicious because on here, where is it? They had the net pay, where was it? They couldn't even do it right. It was supposed to be like $109 and they just wrote it for straight up $1. This will be framed one day. This is just random. I just want to show you guys that I have all the documentation. I've done all of it. Pretty much a lawyer, an advocate, even the FBI, anybody would just have to step in. Here's what started with an unlawful termination. My ex-wife tried to stab me with this 5-inch blade, right? She tried to assault me with this the night before while she was recording. She'd been on a 3-day drug binge. She came in for 10 minutes to get some clothes. Here's 3 TVs. She threw a dog bone through that one. My mother had just taken her life. my ex-wife came home on a drug binge, literally picked up a big flat screen TV because it was my late mother's and threw it on the ground saying, F your mom. Here's the pain pills and the methadone that we had her on. Here is what I have a police recording where I'm talking about my daughter being submitted to bed bug bites. You can see right there, all over there, all over there, all over there. My daughters were absolutely miserable. And this officer in there, which is now a police chief because the last police chief was demoted, is laughing about this. In the recording you can see on TV, or on YouTube, he said, oh, was she filling a bed with bed bugs and dipping them in there? Here's my ex joking about it with some random guy she's with. She joked about how she was reaching for a beer while drinking and driving on gravel roads and rolled this car into a ditch. She actually has no license. This was 5 years ago. She has no license right now because she rolled the last car. She got her license for 2 weeks, got drunk in it, and got another OWI driving drunk into a ditch just like this. Here she was on eHarmony. That's just naysay. But here's a letter I left her. I said, you know, I was always peaceful. I was trying to explain to her that we could not do this for the children's sake. You know, I had to do what was best for the kids, get my kids, you know, I was sober, get my kids safety, security, the only one working for, you know, 5-10 years. And I came back and found it with a knife in it. That is what I'm dealing with, you know. And then here she is out drinking. I was unlawfully arrested by her police buddies, and then these pictures pop up online. And I'm wondering where my kids are, you know. And then these are coming out at the same times, you know. Here, we learned I'm a super badass ninja warrior, even when I'm blacked out drunk and no one can touch me or I karate chop them in their throats. I mean, she's a very... You know, she's been arrested time and time again. Anyways, so here's me explaining the case. Yada, yada, yada. All the stuff that goes with it. I mean, in those, like, I turned in a video of her trying to stab me. These are the scissors themselves. Right here. So, I mean, if you can imagine this blade coming at you, that's not a small blade. Over and over at the chest. You know, she'd been up for 3 days on drugs, hadn't slept. And then here's the methadone I had her on, stuff like that. So that was all from the time. There's much substance to that. That's all the state stuff. Here's my letters. I have handwritten all these to, this is to the Omaha FBI. This is not even close to them. This is number 23. You know what I'm saying? For a while I didn't save these because I didn't want them to be found in my email because nothing I have is secure. Another letter to FBI. Another letter I wrote to Omaha FBI. Omaha FBI. Omaha FBI. Omaha FBI. And I mean, this is just civil rights, human rights. It took me a lot, human right violations, it took me a lot to come out about this. You know, and for a lot of them later on, I started keeping the dates, times, everything like that so they could backtrack and check out what was where. This is me, the United States Department of Justice. I've also written President Trump twice during his term and now Mr. Biden. I'm currently going to the Attorney General of the United States with no luck. I went to Washington, D.C. actually to, that was the last Attorney General, I believe. There's the governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, which is behind much of this. If she was put on a stand, she knows about the abuse of the disabled, and she does what she can. Here's another letter to Governor Reynolds. I have been trying to advocate